I'm Janice Banther. Today we're going to be talking about another medical intervention, and that's AROM, artificial rupture of membranes, and also what SROM looks like, spontaneous rupture of membranes, and how to teach this in a childbirth class or else to a labor client that you're going to be a doula for. What you need is a 2-liter bottle and fill it full of water. Get press and seal or plastic wrap. You want to fill this with water and then twist this around. This is just about how much water is usually inside a mom. It's about 2 liters. Just to make sure this is actually really safe and not going to go anywhere, I take a rubber band and put it across the top. And it's not going anywhere. And I have a safety pin and I have a clear bowl. It's kind of better to use a clear bowl so they can kind of see what's happening. And I show them what it's like when your water breaks spontaneously. What's a high leak versus a low leak, a gush. And so first I do the high leak and I just kind of put the straight pin in there one time and I show them how water just kind of dribbles out. And how they could think, well, I just wet my pants. And then they go to the bathroom and nothing happens. And I keep talking to you about different things like that and how it doesn't happen. And they go back to the couch and sit down or whatever it was they were doing. And they might cough and a little more might come out. And they go back to the bathroom again. They can't understand what's happening. That's a good way of explaining a high leak. And then to show them what a gush is like, you take your safety pin in there and you really do a big hole and you have it start gushing out. And you usually have the eyes of one of those going like this, and kind of gives them a little bit of a scare. And you can talk about the different precautions they can do for their bed and things like that in case they do have a spontaneous rupture of membranes. So that's how you can show that. Then you want to talk about artificial rupture of membranes. What happens if somebody breaks your water for you? You can show them an amnio hook. That always helps. You can also use the acronym that I think most of you know is the word TACO, T-A-C-O. And you can use this in teaching when their water breaks spontaneously. As T stands for time, A stands for appearance, C stands for color, and O stands for odor. And it's a way of helping them to understand what's important to remember and everything if their water breaks spontaneously. Well, let's say their water doesn't break spontaneously, and they are in the hospital, and the doctor or caregiver is considering, we'd like to break your water. And so you show them this, an amnio hook. It's how they can break their water. There's a couple of the different ways that they have. It's like a little thing they can put on the finger. It has a little pointy thing. I've seen it in a few hospitals where they can nick it like that with their finger during an exam. But then you can talk about what are the pros and cons. And so I always have my whiteboard right next to what I'm saying is, and across the top I put breaking your bag of water, having it broken for you. And then I have pros on the word pros on one side, the word cons on the other. Draw a line down the center. And I always have a marker in my hand and I say, well, let's talk about the cons first. And so I start writing them down. I go, well, okay, the first one would be a prolapse cord. And I think if you're a doula and you've ever seen one prolapse cord, that's one prolapse cord too many. I've seen one prolapse cord and I don't ever want to see one again. It was years and years ago. And it made me teach even more about how important the station is when the water is broken or if your water breaks on its own. Just different things for them to know, because that was really a scary thing for me. It was many years ago for me to see a prolapse cord. Baby was fine, mom was fine. So you can tell them that one of the cons is you could have a prolapse cord and explain what that is. You could also tell them, write down, it puts you on a timetable for a cesarean birth. You break your water, have your water broken for you, then within 24 hours you need to have your baby, according to most caregivers and most hospitals, or else you're going to have a cesarean birth. Also, something else that's a con would be that there's a good chance of infection. If they start doing more vaginal checks and things like that, then they're going to have more chance of infection, because there's another way of keeping the baby protected from infection is gone. The bag of water is gone, that protection around the baby is gone, the mucus plug is gone, and then the water being broken, baby's having a more chance of having an infection. So that way you're able to explain all that by showing all those things. Now usually you ask, does anybody else think of a con or a pro or something? Well, doesn't it speed up labor? So that's a good thing you ask that. And you can say, how many of you watch some of those shows on TV about babies being born? And you want to be careful about mentioning the names of them, because that can get you in trouble. But different baby shows. And I always say there's one that's very popular that comes out where a nurse comes out and says, well, her labor's a little slow right now, so we're going to break her bag of water. That'll speed things up. And then maybe after the commercial or a few seconds later, she comes back out the hallway and says, well, her labor did not speed up, so we're going to start Pitocin. Well, they've had to do something. They broke her bag of water, and now they are on a timetable. And of course, they're having a baby in a matter of 10, 15 minutes when it's really a matter of 10, 15 hours. But does it speed up labor? Yeah, sometimes it does. I've seen it speed up labor, and I've seen it many times not speed up labor. So you're having a chance of taking that as a pro when really it can be a con for most of the time. Most of the time, mom still has to have some artificial hormone to help get their labor started. Breaking the water does not always help encourage it along or get it started. So I have all my cons written down, and then I go, okay, we're going to talk about the pros now. And so I have the word pro up here, and I have my marker hand, and I kind of stand like this, and I look at the board, and I go back like this, and start to write something else, and I go back like that, and then I look at everybody, and I go, there really isn't any. There's really no complete pros to having your water broken. If there was an emergency and they needed to break it, yes, but is the chances of cases of an emergency happening during a labor to have your water broken, those are very slim. And you might want to mention some of those if you want to in your class or else with your client. But it lets them realize that there really is no real reason to have your water broken. Most of the reasons are all cons, and you've listed this down, as you can see right here next to my head. I hope this has been a help to you of showing how to teach another medical intervention in your childbirth classes. And it shows what a spontaneous rupture of membrane looks like with a 2-liter bottle of water and some water in there. And also by listing the pros and cons of having your water broken for you. That's AROM, artificial rupture of membranes, using an amnio hook or something like that in other hospitals where they use different ways. Hope this is good. If you have any other suggestions that you can think about that you've heard of a way of teaching this, please write it down below in the comments section. I'd love to hear from you. I appreciate all the comments I do get from you guys and the subscriptions. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.